Hi, today I'm going to talk about how to stop being a perpetual student in internet marketing. And perpetual students, they're always studying. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. There's always more to learn, but too often it's an excuse to not do something with your internet marketing because we don't know everything there is to know. Truth is, you'll never know everything. Internet marketing, it's a vast subject, same as any other large subject big niche that you come across. And it's always changing, often quite fast, which means a lot of the things you might learn are out of date or soon to be out of date. So how can you keep as up to date as possible whilst making progress with your own internet marketing business? Is it really possible to get out of perpetual student mode and start making your business pay for you? And I think the answer is yes. But you need to focus. And even more importantly, you actually need to start. So many people use learning about internet marketing as an excuse not to do anything yet because they don't know everything involved, but the fastest way to learn is almost always to do something. As a child, you learned how to ride a bike by doing it, not by watching lots of TV about how to ride a bike or by reading books about it or your parents talking to you about it but not actually ever putting you anywhere close to a bike. None of those would have prepared you for all the wobbles and all the different things you needed to do at seemingly the same time, and riding a bike isn't versus driving a car, it's not overly complicated. You keep your balance, you pedal the wheels, you steer, apply the brakes occasionally, possibly use the bell. Well, that's about it. But there's still lots of things to do at the kind of age that you start learning to ride a bike. As I said, if you think about all the different things you do with driving a car, even more. Same with internet marketing, lots and lots and lots, and you're not concentrating on the road directly, you're concentrating on the road that Google puts ahead of you, and that's one that's actually shrouded in fog, but we're not going to cover that today. But even when you've not ridden a bike for years, riding a bike is still simple. I did it probably took me 20 years between riding a bike as a teenager and buying another one as an adult to pretend to try and keep fit. And the bike shop said, well, just ride it down the aisle, because it's quite a large bike shop. And I thought, and then did it. And yeah, pretty much everything came flooding back to me, and I stayed upright and didn't crash, and it worked, and they sold the bike. And the same kind of thing happens with internet marketing. Often simpler is better. The less moving parts, the less to focus on, and there's less there is to go wrong. Sales letters often make it seem to be quite the opposite of that. After all, they're trying to sell you their secret sauce to making money on the internet, all backed up with very, very precise figures, right down to the last cent, the money they made. And that last cent thing, they're often quite coy about whether that was before or after expenses, but chances are it was before. So yeah, it's the top figure, but it's the turnover figure, it's not the actual profit figure. They might have said, how I made $1,237,469.27, but they didn't tell you it cost them $2 million to get that. Hopefully that's not the case, but you never. But beware of precise figures, because they're part of the sales pitch. Copywriters are taught to do it because we trust precise figures. If it's how I made over $1 million, that's nowhere near as good as a sales pitch as the precise one. And precise range of everything from searches to keyword density, that's the magic figure that almost guarantees profits. Again, that's the sales letter thing. You need between 2,400 and 3,174 searches a month, and you need a 1.9743 recurring keyword density or some kind of rubbish like that. And of course the sales page is riddled with weasel words and phrases, and these aren't typical results phrases, but you know what happens, you ignore those and you buy the product anyway. You maybe read or watch some of the product, chance of you finishing it, pretty low. Then it gets filed in the "that's interesting, I must try it someday" box in your mind, and you've ticked off another thing on your never-ending perpetual student to-do list. But the thing is, it never gets to done. You're always getting the next thing, you're always reading the next page, watching the next video like this one, or anything like that, but not actually putting it into practice. And the best way to get out of that mode is to start now. You can stop watching this video now and start if you wanted to. Not later today, not tomorrow morning, not next week. Now, this instant. You'll almost certainly have a voice in the back of your head saying, you can't do that. You got lots of other things you need to do first, but those are just excuses. They're procrastination, basically. Truth is, if you've got time to start reading or watching that new product, or reading and watching the sales letter, or for yet another everything explained final piece of the useful product that doesn't actually do that, everything else is just an excuse. Okay, maybe you're thinking it's too technical, and the technical side is often an excuse. It's one I quite often get emailed about, but in the real world, you've almost certainly got no idea how your phone or your car or even your electricity or water supply work, but does that stop you using them? You wouldn't turn on the lights or turn on the tap, faucets here in America. You wouldn't not do that just because you didn't know how they worked. Anything you don't know or you don't understand, find out if you need to. Or pay someone on a site like Fiverr to do it for you. I do that all the time. I have someone there find a suitable domain name for me because life's too short to research domain names as far as I'm concerned. I get other people to design simple graphics because you've probably noticed from my videos and my sites, my graphics are, yeah, okay, a 5-year-old could do them. Others I use to transcribe videos or fix things I probably could fix, but not for the price of a cup of coffee. In reality, the most value you can add in internet marketing isn't the techie stuff. One of the biggest internet marketers I follow openly admits he doesn't know the techie stuff, doesn't care. Pay someone to do it. Because there are plenty of geeks who delight in doing it fast and cheap. It's their hobby. Partly because they find computers easier to relate to than humans, but we're not going to go there. And they're often very good at doing the techie stuff. Your internet marketing focus should be on creating content that helps people. There's a thing called reciprocity that means people feel obliged to help you if you've done something for them. And at the risk of sending you back into perpetual student mode, there's a lot more about that in a book called Influence by Robert Cialdini. So search for Influence or search for his new book, Persuasion. Those are good reads, but again, set aside half an hour a day where you're going to read them rather than your main focus of the day. Make sure you actually do your internet marketing. You can be a part-time perpetual student, that's okay, but not a full-time one. Start by starting. Get a domain, one that's good enough, even if it's not perfect. I mean, think about it. What does Twitter mean? Now, it means it's micro blog posts, 140 characters, or possibly slightly more if they've changed it recently. Google, well, okay, that means something to the geeks there, but nothing else. Alta Vista when it first came out, or Yahoo. Yahoo's an acronym, but that's it. I mean, in terms of a memorable domain name, we think they're memorable now, but when they first started, they weren't. Then host your domain name somewhere reasonably reliable. Personally, I'd suggest avoiding anywhere that's owned by a firm called EIG. Do a bit of research on that if you want. Not too much. Then install WordPress or pay someone to click the handful of buttons on your control panel to do it for you. Then start creating content and pressing the publish button, not the draft button, the publish one. It's only by creating content, whether it's written, audio, visual like this one, software or anything else, that you'll find out the truth for you. Because everyone's slightly different. Times of publishing content, word count, grammar, keyword density, competition for the precise keyword you're targeting, and much, much more. And there's even thought to be randomness factor built into the search engine algorithms, so, yeah, again, complicated, but ignore that. Regardless of whether or not that's true, there are so many other factors involved. No two experiments can be truly identical. You can't do a double blind on the internet, it just doesn't go that way. But you'll learn as you move from being a perpetual student to someone who actually follows through more often with their internet marketing. You'll learn things, and there'll be things you've learned and you can put into practice. And you don't have to go cold turkey on learning, just allocate some time for it and some different time, more time, for implementing what you've learned. Go from, I don't know, maybe a 4-to-1, so for every hour you spend being a perpetual student, you spend 4 hours putting what you've just learned into practice. It probably is that kind of ratio. And it can be fun, but you'll only find out if you do it. And at the risk of keeping you learning, click the button below this video and join my email list. I'll send a variety of emails and messages, and I do those pretty much daily. But in among them, I try and do my best to keep you on track with actually doing your internet marketing. So if you want to, click the link below and join me, and then put what you learn into practice. You find that's a lot more profitable than just reading something. Okay, thanks for watching, and as I said, click the link below this video and I can give you even more info, but I'd like you to promise if you do that or join anyone else's program, you're actually going to put it into practice, because you'll find it works a lot better. Okay, thanks for watching.